September 17th, 2022. It's the lower bracket final of the biggest Valorant tournament in history, Valorant champions Istanbul and the Volkswagen Arena. DRX has just suffered their third international loss to Optic this year and have exited the tournament in third place. However, unlike previous tournaments, DRX's loss in Turkey felt different. Rather than being chastised for not winning the tournament, DRX was receiving endless praise for their third place finish. But how could a third place finish be treated as such a momentous and glorious achievement? Well, to understand this, we have to understand the history of DRX, Korean Valorant's only hope. Before they were DRX or even Vision Strikers, they were MVP PK, a Counter-Strike roster that had achieved success domestically, but had little recent impact on the international landscape of Counter-Strike. The team would disband on April 30th, 2022, and opt to pursue Valorant. The core of MVP PK, stax, Glow, King, and RB, would be joined by Zest and Lakia, players that stax had competed in Counter-Strike with previously. Lakia wouldn't compete with the team during his first stint with Vision Strikers, but the team still had impressive results domestically, dominating the lower level of competition in Korea, in part due to the team leader, stax.
이렇게. 네, 좋습니다.
Stax's performances within the server are rarely called into question, and he has been a top initiator player in the world since he began competing in Valorant.
Gets punished. Now Stax though fills the void, taking down Taco. There's more on the side. There's so many willing to fight, and Stax is still standing and still fighting.
However, what truly separates Stax from other players on DRX is his unrivaled passion for competing and limitless confidence. Prior to Masters Copenhagen, BCJ, the initiator player for XSET, was quoted as saying, "Everybody always says Stax is the best initiator in the world, and I say hell no. He is somebody that is from a worse region and is getting way too much credit. I do believe that me and Crashies are the best two initiators in the world by far." Stax, in response, said the following.
When I first heard BCJ, I thought it was some kind of fried chicken company. And that kind of tells where we stand.
Stax's impact for the team goes far beyond the kills he gets in the server. He serves as an emotional leader to the team, elevating their spirits when they seem to be down and out. As VCT Korean Masters rolled around, there was little doubt that Tourn and Vision Strikers would be meeting in the grand finals, and with their last meeting ending in a 1-1 draw, excitement to watch the two teams battle it out was at an all-time high, especially since Lakia was now playing at an extraordinarily high level for Tourn. Both teams dominated the tournament, only dropping maps to each other, and the grand finals would end in a 3-2 victory for Vision Strikers. While the 3-2 scoreline may indicate a closely fought series, Vision Strikers would win their maps with a round differential of +28, while Tourn won theirs with a differential of just +4. Vision Strikers had established themselves as the hottest team in the Korean scene and set their sights on winning Korea's second Challengers event and earning their spot at the first International Masters. However, cracks began to show against F4Q, as Vision Strikers lost their first ever domestic match in 2-1 fashion and were knocked down into the lower bracket of their group. They would advance through the losers bracket and make the semifinals of playoffs, where they would face off against Tourn once more. However, in contrast to their last series, this series would be a one-sided affair for Tourn, as they comfortably took both maps, defeating Vision Strikers in 2-0 fashion, later securing their spot in the first ever Masters event. In preparation for their next Challengers run, Vision Strikers would add up-and-coming Korean talents Buzz and Mako.
DRX,
Buzz and Mako serve as fundamental pieces to DRX's success. Buzz is an exceptional fragger, and with the release of Chamber, like many other players, Buzz would find himself dominating on the Agent, relinquishing entry frag duties and playing primarily Chamber.
Device come through the smoke again! Oh. He just ran in for the second time, but... Oh! Okay, Buzz, okay. He's not even doing it with the tour de force. He gets it! What? The fourth kill! He won't close out the round!
Mako adds an extraordinary amount of firepower to DRX, as well as a clutch factor that few other players have.
Position where he has to almost find him close. Forsaken though, slowly making his way, but Mako just decides to
Mako would become one of, if not the best controller player in the world.
By being taken, that's off the Prowler and stunned up. Mako, you absolute demon! One after another.
Their impact after being added to the team would be immediately noteworthy. Fielding RB, Buzz, Stax, and Mako, as well as a rotation of King and Lakia, Vision Strikers did not drop a single map in Korean Challengers Season 3 until the grand finals. With stax at the helm serving as IGL, many foresaw Vision Strikers' controlled chaos style of gameplay, bringing them deep into the tournament.
It is a bit like the fucking meme of Vision Strikers go.
In the group stage, DRX defeated both PaperX and Ascend on the backs of great performances from RB and Mako. Headed into the playoff bracket, Vision Strikers will be matched up against Gambit, and, well, it wasn't pretty.
Able to clean that up effortlessly, but these individual gunfights aren't going Vision Striker's way as well, and I think that's very concerning because it's not just the macro, right? Yeah. When you're able to just get picked apart like that, Vision Strikers, it's hard to find footing to respond on.
Oh. Redguard drops RB as he blasts back into market, naps through the Cosmic Divide. And it does not seem like Vision Strikers can even get a few members there at a time. Lakia falls last from Nats. Another 4K from him. That's on a gun round.
Despite picking up a victory in Map 2, Gambit would comfortably defeat Vision Strikers on Icebox, eliminating them from the tournament. Although this was a disappointing finish for Vision Strikers, it wasn't uncommon for teams to perform below their peak at their first international event together. In addition to this, Champions Berlin was approaching quickly, and with Valorant LAN experience, many expected Vision Strikers to make a much deeper run at Champions. Vision Strikers would make a statement in their opening game against Full Sends with a set of 13-5 map victories, and would be matched up against Fnatic in their next series with a playoff berth on the line. The following series against Fnatic remained a close affair through 2 maps until Durka proceeded to pick them apart on Fracture, sending them into the lower bracket 2-1. Vision Strikers would now have to play a decider match against a new Vanity-led Cloud9 team that was on a hot streak coming out of LCQ. Both teams won their map picks, leaving Breeze as the decider in the most important map either team had played up until this point. Vision Strikers would find themselves down 8-4 at the half, and needed to play near perfect Valorant to win the map from their position.
It takes one to peek and then they both sit in. Mitch has to define it, and that's a good start. He now knows where RB is, but can he do anything about it? That spike is ticking away, and time is not on his side. He gets the frag, but it's too little, too late. See the amount of information almost filtered over. Mitch, though, good towards RB, but it's a trade out for Leaf, so Mitch now looking a little isolated. No help on the way, and the site is Vision Strikers. Zeta, good connection on that. Marco gonna have to suffer the damage. That is getting dangerous. Zeppa out of nowhere gets 2 big kills. Stax has to stand and deliver, and he's on his knees. Vanity is down to Buzz and Marco. What do they have here in this post plant up against 4 players coming their way? Extremely early, but Buzz gets one. Marco with a second, but they still have to get across that finish line. Buzz takes the step and he takes the frag. Has dwindled away, and they live to fight another day. Vision Strikers keep moving forward. There it is, good connection from RB. Same right back at you, jump the wall, say hello. Leaf still stands, but it stacks on the back line, leaving just Zeta. Wait, that's 1. Not again, surely not this time, no. RB, no presence in the tube. The flash was sent to that corner. Wait, Mitch, he still gets it. No, what? Mitch, Zeta, how are Cloud9 doing this? There is no way this should be happening. Closer, here he comes, Leaf. Oh no, he's got an RB, and now Marco. It's all on you in a 1v. Wait, 2? Maybe there's still a little bit of hope. 8 HP, it's all he's got, it's over.
Despite their best efforts, Vision Strikers would exit the tournament in the group stage. 2 early exits in a row would raise some questions about Vision Strikers' ability to perform under pressure, and this question would follow them, even into the new year. In the following offseason, Vision Strikers' parent company would be acquired by DRX. The team would part ways with Lakia and King, and Zest would be reinserted into the lineup and take over IGL duties. DRX would pick up right where Vision Strikers left off, cruising through the domestic competition to qualify for their 3rd international event in a row. To open up the group stage, DRX would have a stellar performance against Zeta Division, embarrassing them in one of the most lopsided matches in professional Valorant history.
And the TP's needed to get on out of there. There's the wall that allowed the defuse to already come through halfway, and this is looking like it's done. The defuse right under their nose.
Just to make sure that they can't tap it, and he's activating it as they fall so that players take damage. It's just filthy, but the trades are coming back through. Monster, what? Oh my god, there's nothing they can do. There's nothing they can do.
DRX was looking like fierce competition heading into the playoffs and would defeat PaperX in comfortable fashion. In their next match, DRX would find themselves playing against Optic Gaming for the first time ever and started the series hot with a 13-8 map win on Ascent. After taking a 9-5 lead on Icebox, it had appeared that DRX had finally elevated to the next level, but Optic quickly clawed their way back into the map, starting with a critical win in round 17 on the back of Crashies.
Better equipped, but they just don't have any step towards the site. They held a little bit of CT, but now it's yet the underhand flash!
Are you joking?
Stax, you are something else! Catching Victor too? One was enough, and Crashy's ain't clean with it right now. He got a tag, and it's not going to do enough of what he needs. And now FNS, where are you in this? You're dead! They are just swinging him down. Crashy's desperate to try and do it. But now time. Has he bought enough time on the defuse? Just going to hold this down as best they can and pray and hold their breath.
0.04, Lauren.
DRX, who seemingly pulled off a miracle eco round to regain momentum in the series, came up just 0.04 seconds short of the round win. Optic would eventually win Icebox, and the series would move to map 3, a back and forth affair on split that saw both teams end their halves 6-6. The two teams seemed to be almost neck and neck in terms of talent, but as overtime rolled around, DRX simply could not keep up with Optic.
I think RB knows that there's a problem. Now he does. He's got players surrounding him on all fronts. He's going to have to make this something. Oh, they actually flash it. Are you kidding me? Crashies. So good, but stax still stands. He has to become the turret. He can't do it. And now the two players who are so far away have 13 seconds to get over here and try and deny. But the plant has to go down. Can they deny it?
No way!
That's a spike. That was the spike lost. And now time is off the element. But still, they get it down for now. This should be okay. And look who's creeping closer. It's Buzz in a 1v2 with it all to do. Pops the ult. We wait for Buzz to try and get closer here. Everything in the next.
Hope was not lost for DRX, as their lower bracket matchup would be a rematch against Zeta Division, the team that they had stomped earlier in the tournament. While Zeta was no doubt outperforming expectations, their wins up until this point in the series with DRX all seemed feasible. They had defeated a Fnatic with 2 substitutes, NIP, one of the weaker teams at the tournament, and Team Liquid, a team that technically didn't even qualify for the event. Needless to say, the expectation prior to the matchup was that DRX would be victorious, but instead, Zeta Division would shock the world. Zeta would take Icebox, a map they won just 2 rounds on in the team's previous meeting, and while DRX would narrowly win their map pick of Ascent, map 3 would be a different story entirely.
This is all a fake. This is all a fake.
Yeah.
Look at the spike. Look at Crow and look at Dep. They are behind them. It's going to be all on Buzz. Laz just has to try and, be a little bit of a noob.
Mako spotted
He's
it!
seen it, but what can you do with the charge? The second layer! Crow's caught him, and now Buzz is sweating bullets. Laz is going to be the problem in the back lines, the look! And what can he do with this? He's got everything he can. He's got the operator, and all he's got is death! It's Laz on the other side as Buzz is all that remains.
While DRX had gone out with a whimper, their series with Optic, the eventual winners of the tournament, had proven the team's championship level peak, but a narrative had formed around DRX's mental fortitude.
Man, and that's how I feel when I watch DRX, is like, it's clear that there is a baseline level of like good with the team. Like when you watch them play, there's a baseline level of like polish and skill with them, but they can't ever get the oomph. They can't, it's fucking failure to launch every time I watch this team like get to a big stage.
Little would change for DRX at the coming event. During Masters Copenhagen, they would once again qualify for the playoffs as the first seed in their group. Once more, DRX found themselves in the upper bracket semifinals against Optic, and much to the shock of the casters and desk talent, would decimate Optic on Fracture.
Not able to get it to half, not able to get it to much of anything. It's going to be Marv and Buzz in a 1v1, and Buzz wins another!
The score, 9-0.
Optic would return the favor on Breeze and set up a map 3 on Bind. DRX found themselves trailing in the first half 8-4, but would storm back into the second half to tie the series up at 10-10.
Under front sight, Marv on bench.
It's clean out from Zest. He takes care of Marv to Guardian out. And they understand they're still huddled up in U-Haul. You've got Ye swinging out. They all swing out at the right time. They all swing out together, and Buzz welcomes them. It's a 1v1. Buzz against Ye. Ye from up top. It's a thrifty round win for Optic. RB decapitated. Zest finds so much more value as he gets 2. But Optic are able to trade it back at 3v2 here.
Watch over top.
Waiting. Nice shot out from Ye. Stax.
Like so many times before, DRX had come up short when it mattered most and lost the series, sending them to the losers bracket. In the next series, DRX would be dismantled by FPX. The loss marked the first time that DRX would be 2-0'd at an international event, and when asked about the match afterward, Buzz had this to say.
여태껏 저희가 국제대회 나가서 진 매치들 중에 제일 허무하게 진 느낌이랄까? PC방에서 그냥 2시간 게임하다 휙 간 느낌.
Once more, DRX had been eliminated at the dreaded 5th-6th position. 5th-6th would be the label unceremoniously plastered onto DRX following their disappointing performances, and Zest openly acknowledged that the team worried about finishing 5th-6th at Champs once more. Quote, "There was always that worry that we would finish 5th and 6th again this time. It was always creeping there in the back of my mind. In many ways, The 5th-6 finish summarized everything DRX was. They could rely on their raw talent to carry them past some of the best teams in the world, but when their backs were against the wall, they crumbled. As Mako put it, quote, "Once we had lost, I often almost had a breakdown because of our loss and my own personal mistakes in the game. It was clear that DRX needed changes, but with Champions, the most important event of the year, quickly approaching, personnel changes were simply not viable. They had to find a way to win and find it quickly." Prior to Champions, DRX would make several internal changes to the team. Zest would no longer be the IGL for the team, as it had become clear that the slow and by-the-book style that DRX had become accustomed to was not a winning formula. Stax would become the new IGL for the team, and DRX would embrace the organized chaos playstyle that put them on the map. Buzz would be shifted back into the jet role, and this begs the question, what will RB play at Champs? There's little doubt about RB's talent. When he was on, he was really on.
Even the ultimate being committed here. What? Spray down! And the warbangs. 5 bullets. Johnny goes for his RB swings!
However, RB's performances had a tendency to fall off as the team played tough opponents deeper in the tournament. Perhaps no series of games better demonstrates this than RB's run at Masters Berlin. After opening with a pair of +16 and +13 series against PaperX and Ascend, RB would go -25 in their series against Gambit. And while the team as a whole didn't perform well in the series, his performance is particularly bad, even by that standard. At Reykjavik, RB would go -24 and -25 against Optic and Zeta respectively. In this way, RB served as a personification of the 5th-6th aura that surrounded DRX. DRX was talented, but they could never show up when it mattered most, and as the disappointing finishes piled up, RB found himself being scapegoated for the team's lackluster results. In spite of the internal role swaps, DRX would find themselves getting trounced by Furia in their opening map of the tournament, being down 12-4. If the team's history had proven anything, DRX should simply lie down and accept their fate. But something was different. This was not the DRX of old.
Possibly blinded them just enough. Mako up close, it's good for 2. The spike needs to be planted, and he's got the angle. Spike dropped, time is so low. They've got to put it down right now. It's being planted and no denial. They have just about gotten it. The 1v1 as Buzz tries to keep DRX alive, and he'll get it on the Blade Storm. An opportunity for DRX to get back in here. A 4 versus 2. The jump peak. What is no!
They almost just lost that round.
They've got 2 rounds to close this one out. Already activated, the window wide open for him to dash back, and he'll get this shot, winning that fight at long last, but he might go down to the Hunter's Fury. He barely avoided it, just about stayed alive. RB though, a 3v3, a 3v2. RB single-handedly keeping this team alive. The ace almost at hand. The shorty's out to try it. It's stolen, as this half was. DRX of it 24, and we're going to overtime. He is. He's going up and in. The flash is there, and he's got 2.
Maniac.
Buzz is still going. Another dash online to work with. He has the escape to play with, and he doesn't even need it. 4 for Buzz.
They're already within the site. Almost a little bit confused. The spike is on the deck. It's left now to Digison, and NCR's still rotating. He hasn't made it to the site yet, and they're just running out of time. That 1v1 not working. DRX from 12-4 down. They are going to be closing this one out. There is
DRX had clawed their way back from a 12-4 deficit to win in triple overtime, and would steal Breeze away from 100 Thieves in their very next series. DRX had staged 2 great comebacks in close maps in back-to-back series, but skeptics of group stage DRX remained, especially as the team allowed FPX to force overtime from being down 8-12 in their first playoff match. What would follow was the greatest stretch of Valorant ever played.
He's going to creep up on the side. He's might actually get it as well. Okay, one goes in and gets it away. Does get marked though. Prowler, not a problem just yet. Another
No way!
Oh my God! The man can do no wrong! One of the greats! With the predict to get 2, he's going to get 1! He's going to get 2! Oh, and the crunch comes in from middle! FPX, perfect positioning!
Zest though has to go huge here.
There's pace, and everything you can do, I can do better. They're going to do the same thing to get 2! He goes down! Avoids the flash. One's already down on site. The second comes flying.
Defense 1 HP.
The 1v1. Oh, but Stax is 30. Horn goes up. He's looking for him anywhere he can, and the dance begins.
Oh my God!
And Stax goes
The Red Bull clutch from Stax.
Stax and Zest this time,
DRX
surely
out.
you can't clutch it out again. I have no idea he's here this early. He's got one scot-free.
Oh my God!
No!
What?
Not again! Not again! How has Stax done it one more time?
Could this be it for DRX?
The crowd believe it. They just have to make us a believer. The flash for him. Mako
Oh my
turns
God!
it! He turns the flash. The trade does come out, but towards the side, it's RB to go down. Marco still standing, and Marco wants him done here. So Getsu says
DRX
no,
would win
no,
Ascent
no.
and eventually take the series against FPX, but their high would be short-lived, as the team seemingly returned to playoff form after blowing a 9-3 lead to Loud on Breeze and subsequently getting decimated on Haven. The team found themselves in an all-too-familiar position, facing elimination, this time against Fnatic. Durka proceeded to rip DRX apart on map 1, and DRX went down 4-8 on the attack side of Ascent. While this wasn't an unusual occurrence on Ascent, Fnatic seemed to be capturing the rounds here and there that they would need to put the series away and would hold an 11-9
have to
lead.
commit to it. And Zest is on the other side, but Alpha gets him. A 3v3, and he still has that locked up, but you haven't cleared out Stax. You haven't cleared out Stax. The Prowler in his lap.
Getting stuck.
Stax on the swing. Enzo cleans him up.
Off! He got off!
No way! Mako's got to clutch this out. For DRX. He spotted a good barrel. He's gotten it to one. Mako gets both. Mako gets both. And the defuse. We're tied. They go in aggressive. Alfier on the swing. He's gotten it to one. No 1v1 here as he tries to win the round himself for Fnatic. Is he going to check the right side? But no! Another clutch for DRX. A 1v1. Alfier again in a clutch position. Can he win it out against Buzz? He's healthy. He's up top. He's got the advantage, the high ground, but can he land the shots? No, guessing everywhere as Buzz commits, and Buzz does it again! Advantage DRX. Buzz, flash, turns, spams! Oh, and it's all on Alfier, and he cannot keep them.
DRX had won it in overtime in dramatic fashion, inching ever closer to winning their first ever international elimination match. DRX would pull away on Fracture and crush the crowd's spirit in the process.
Can he do this, the swing? Oh, he's gotten it to a 1v1, holding it, Stax on the swing, Alfier falls, can Mystic do it? 87 HP, the flash is up top, and no!
They had finally made the top 4 of a tournament and won an elimination match against a quality team. It was clear that this version of DRX was different, and they had a real shot at winning champions, but their next match would have them face the defending champions FPX in a rematch. DRX would secure the first half of Icebox, but FPX stormed back at the start of the second half, taking an 11-8 lead and seemingly securing the map for themselves.
Such a numbers advantage, my goodness, not again. DRX finds one, Zip and finds another. They're outnumbered and they don't seem to care, but DRX finally come to life. Trying to do it, and Haun's gonna find some value. I don't know, but it was enough. Oh, the second kill! There's no time!
Gotta find the Viper though, he's still inside.
It has to go down. Mako up top. Oh, it's a barrel right into his ear. But Zipan's still alive.
They still have the pit.
Maybe not healthy, but he's still trying to make a play on the round. You see the pick go off, and it goes right back down as DRX take Icebox.
They had strung together 5 rounds in a row to swing the map in their favor, 13-11. It wouldn't get much easier on the next map, Haven, as FPX's unique double controller comp, utilizing a Viper and an Omen, was wreaking havoc on DRX's attacking side.
Gets a second. Stax in a 1v3.
After a dominant 9-3 half, a map 3 seemed all but certain.
Check every single angle his way, and he lands the first right in between the eyes. Looking for the second, dancing around the utility. Oh! It's actually Xiao who's in trouble, but Xiao gets it down to 1v1. It doesn't land. Stax, you're right. A bit ahead of the bound. So much reinforcements. Artist falls. Can Andrew do anything here? You mentioned the concerns around the bonus, and every single shot seems to be going wide for FPX. It's dependent on 1v4. He swings around. Oh! Buzz trying to dance around it, but he's gonna take too much damage. He has to pull off every single time.
They're sticking.
There's no way.
They got it.
They dealt with every layer thrown their way. It stalled it, but Angel goes forward again by himself. DRX seem incapable of doing wrong, and it just continues. Mako with the shock dart in his lap gets 4, but he's gonna re-challenge. He has no choice otherwise. And they're all flashed up. They can't see a dang thing. Oh my gosh, Buzz gets another. It's all there. All hail King Buzz. Long may he reign. Mako has gotten into half, and he's gonna stick it the whole way. He's just gonna stick it the whole way!
He has help.
Yes, he does. And it's massive help too. The challengers there, they're gonna swing right into it. They both fall!
DRX won 10 rounds in a row and sent the defending champions home, earning themselves a spot in the lower final. There was truly no other way for DRX's year to end than against Optic. Despite the scorelines remaining close every time, each result meant something much different. In their first matchup, DRX had proven that they could go toe-to-toe with Optic, and even though they missed out on the top 4, they were still believed to be a promising team. Their second match, despite also being decided in 2-1 fashion, told a much different story, as DRX would lose the series in spite of a dominant map 1 on Optic's map pick. This was the ultimate low point for DRX, and many had written them off as serial chokers. This matchup was different, because in spite of suffering a 3-2 loss, DRX battled back from 0-2 and nearly completed the reverse sweep in a close map 5. The team that had been known for falling apart and failing to adapt later in tournaments had finally done it. They had shifted their roles and unlocked their players' true potential. DRX looked reinvigorated under stax leadership, battling back into maps and series constantly throughout their run of champs. Zest was making impact plays consistently after being freed up from IGL duties. Buzz and Mako were dominating on their comfort roles, and RB played his best tournament ever while playing every role that the game had to offer. While they may have lost to Optic and ultimately went out in 3rd place, they had finally overcome the narratives around them. While they never captured a championship in the open era, DRX's future is undoubtedly bright.